नौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यंकरवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम। We'll chant mantra number 9 and start with mantra number 10. एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा। एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः यस्मिन् प्राणः पञ्चधा संविवेश एषोऽणुरात्मा चेतसा वेदितव्यः यस्मिन् प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा प्राणैश्चित्तं सर्वमोतं प्रजानां यस्मिन् विशुद्धे विभवत्येष आत्मा। नेक्स्ट मंत्र। यं यं लोकं मनसा संविभाति यं यं लोकं मनसा संविभाति यस् विशुद्ध सत्वः कामयते यांश्च कामान् विशुद्ध सत्वः कामयते यांश्च कामान् तं तं लोकं जायते तांश्च कामान् तं तं लोकं जायते तांश्च कामान् तस्मादात्मज्ञं ह्यर्चयेत् भूतिकामः तस्मादात्मज्ञं ह्यर्चयेत् भूतिकामः। Again. यं यं लोकं मनसा संविभाति विशुद्ध सत्वः कामयते यांश्च कामान् यं यं लोकं मनसा संविभाति Vishuddha Sattva Kamayate Yamscha Kaman Tam Tam Lokam Jayate Tamscha Kaman Tasmad Atmagyam Hyarchate Yate Bhuti Kamaha Tam Tam Lokam Jayate Tamscha Kaman Tasmad Atmagyam Hyarchayet Bhuti Kamaha. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati. Whatever loka he does sankalpa, manasa sankalpayati. Whatever he desires or thinks of. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati means sankalpayati. What kind, may I have this loka? That kind of sankalpa. Then kamayate yamshaka. Whatever desires, whatever desirable objects he desires, prarthayati. Whatever bhoga, kaman means bhogas, pleasures, this person desires. So whatever sankalpa or desire for whatever loka he has, or a particular kama or a particular pleasurable object he has, a situation, tam tam lokam jayate. Jayate. He gains those lokas. Prapnoti tamscha kama. He gains all those pleasures. Sankalpita. Whatever he desired, he gains. Tasmad. Therefore, bhuti kamaha. Bhuti kamaha means one who is vibhuti vichhu, one who is desirous of some worldly pleasures, one who aspires to have something out of this world. The archain atmagyam. Therefore, he worship this wise person. Okay. Whatever lokas he desires, he gains the loka. Whatever pleasures, he gains pleasures. This wise person. And it says, further it says, whatever, and then he gains a pleasure, and therefore, bhuti kamaha, desirous of Vaishwaryam, the one who is desirous of some pleasures or worldly things, may he worship, may he, this desired person, serve this wise person. And who is this wise person? Vishuddha Sattvaha. Yaha Vishuddha Sattvaha, one whose heart is pure, whose heart is free from any kind of impurities, free from any kind of blemish, that person, whatever he aspires, whatever he desires, he gains. Lokas are the pleasures. Therefore, one who is desirer of worldly pleasures, vibhuti, aishwarya, glory, or some pleasures, should serve this wise person. Okay. Who is a wise person? We are talking of. Please understand the difference. This is where again you need this Shrotriya Acharya. This is again where you need a parampara, traditional teacher. You know, people have been taking this mantra very literally. They make vachyartha. I have been telling for last 2 classes, the entire teaching is through lakshyartha. You have to see the implied meaning, and to see the implied meaning, you have to see the context in which he is talking about. Look at the context. Last 2-3 mantras are, what is that? He says, previous mantra, Esha anuratma chetasa veditavyaha yasmin pranah panchada samvivesha. Pranaishchattam sarvamotam prajanam. Sarva prajanam. This pranas, that first he says, Otam prajanam. The whole chittam of all prajas is pervaded, or it is in and through all the chittas. And then further he says, in the previous mantra, he says, the Atma is Aptakami. So, who is a wise person? One who knows oneself as Brahman. Please understand what is wisdom. It is not simply being a witness, you become a wise person. The whole Vipassana is running on this witnesshood. And people are so much impressed with Vipassana. They get some peace of mind for whatever reason. And they think Atma is a Sakshi. Some section of Jainism also talks about Sakshitva. They practice. Few years, couple of decades ago, I just called up one person. He said, sorry, I could not pick up your phone. Next day he called me. He says, you called me twice, but I could not pick up your phone because I was seated in Sakshi Bhava. Oh, Sakshi Bhava mein baitho. I said, what do you do, Sakshi Bhava? He said, I just witness whatever happens. I could hear the ring and my mobile was besides me. And therefore I could see that you are calling. If you wanted to sit in a Sakshi Bhava, why the hell you keep the mobile besides? Put it away. I said, if somebody comes then, he said, let them come and go. I remain Sakshi Bhava. I said, I remember Swamiji's the story, mantra works. I will not tell you the secret of the mantra. I said, that's the best Sakshi Bhava you should have. I said, and then he justified, looking at my amusement. He says, Swamiji, Bhagavan Mahavira was in Sakshi Bhava. When that fellow pierced nails in his ears, that cowherd, there's a story, who asked him, hey, have you seen my goats or something? And Mahavira did not reply because he was seated in Sakshi Bhava. And then he pierced nails in his ears. Still Mahavira kept quiet. This is not, we are talking of it. That's not Sakshi Bhava at all. And you cannot achieve. Sakshi Bhava doesn't mean absence of sensation. Sakshi Bhava doesn't mean absence of perception. Sakshi Bhava doesn't mean absence of thought form taking place. Vishayakar vritti will take place. Then as long as there is a drashta and there is a seeing, there is experiencer. Drashta, drashya and darshanam will take place. And experiencer, experience and experience will take place. Sakshi Bhava doesn't mean you remain stoned, as they say in America. You are stoning the mind. That's not Sakshi Bhava. Anyway, we'll discuss. We have discussed that and we'll discuss it in some other time. This is not the context. What I am trying to convey is wisdom. A wise person or wisdom doesn't mean to be Sakshi only. Wisdom is to discover that Sakshya is not separate from me. What I witness is not away from me. The seen is not separate from the seer. That is Sakshi. The seeing is also not separate from the seer, because that is the same consciousness. And the creator, the Ishvara, is not separate from me, the consciousness. Or other way around, I am not separate from Ishvara. There is a separation. In spite of the separation, there is no separation. There is a duality. But in spite of that duality, there is no duality. The duality is apparent. separation is apparent. It is Maya Karya. And so I am not Maya. I am Chaitanyam. And therefore, it is incidental. And that incidental is superimposed upon me. I am the consciousness. That understanding. I am everything. Jeev, Jagat, Ishwar, Aikya, Gnanam. That is Purna Gnana. Understand? What is wisdom? Any object of the world or any worlds or this Pancha Mahabhuta, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal and Prithvi, they are not separate from me. Since these Pancha Mahabhutas are not separate from me, anything that consists of this Pancha Mahabhuta cannot be separate from me. No object, no loka, neither space nor time. Kalo ahamasmi. Kala rupena ahamasmi. And then Akash rupena api ahamasmi. That is a wisdom. Okay. So Sarvatma Bhava, what we call it. They say wise person gains Sarvatma Bhava. Gaining Sarvatma Bhava doesn't mean you become all at physio-psycho level. Certainly not. You don't become all at physio-psycho level. That physio-psycho level duality continues. You may have identification with 1 or 2%. That is called Anushvanga, Abhishvanga. Putra Dara Gruhadishu Anabhishvanga. In the 13th chapter, that value comes. Or because of some power, you may know what is transpiring in mind of somebody and somewhere here and there. But you cannot identify. You cannot become one physically or emotionally or cognitively with the whole world. You can never. That is a Maya Karya, and it will remain separate. That is not Sarvatma Bhava. Sarvatma Bhava means I of all is I. And that superimposition upon I in terms of physio-psycho complex is separate. When I say I am Indian, other person says I am American, third person says I am African or whatever. That I am is pure consciousness. And that is me. I know who am I. But I, Swami Paramatmananda, cannot become one at physical level with American or European or Asian or African. No, it cannot. That's not Sarvatma Bhava we are talking. People hear all the stories. These are all stories written by some ignorant chelas, ignorant disciples, thinking that they are glorifying the Guru. But in fact, by saying so, they are demeaning the Guru. Because that thing is called Abhishvanga. It is worse than Asakti. You identify. As they say, Putradara Gruhadis. And when they say, when the child is sick, sometimes mother falls sick. She gets fever because the baby has a fever. So much of attachment, so much of dependency, so much of emotional bond that you start feeling the pain of a given person. That's okay. That is not a healthy thing to happen. Every relationship, we have to maintain the space. Every relationship, we have to have some distance and give freedom to another person. And when you fail to give freedom, that comes out of some control psychology. You want to control everybody. Hey, why don't you, the mothers do that. Why don't you study? What are you doing? Then the child will, typical American child, will say, Mom. Okay, that means I'm drawing a boundary. Now better be in your limits. Dad, there's a tone, When the tone is said, Dad and Mom understands. And now we should not cross the boundary, full stop. But Indian child may retaliate and say something in as a reaction. So why should you? Sometimes wives control husband. Why don't you do that? Why don't you eat? You should eat. He's a father of 3 or 2, whatever kids, grown up person at the age of 50. You may be suggestive, but leave him. Sometimes they are controlling. Why are you wearing? One fellow told me, Swamiji, I just casually said, you really are a very good couple. You love each other so much. It looks like they are in their 50s. 50s, okay? No, 50s, yes, late 50s. Then he says, Swamiji, I love her so much that all that she should wear, I decide and I buy for her. I said, I sympathize that lady. What controlling husband he is and what she must be going through. I said, what is this love when you are strangulating the person? That's not true. You have to give space emotionally. People need to talk, especially Indians in America. They call up their family daily and starts with, what have you eaten? From there they start good juice, What typical, what are you doing? What they are doing, and they will live their life without you. And if you are so concerned, come back to India and take care of it. But too much of attachment, lack of spacing, that is Abhishwanga. If wise person has that, then he feels the pain. I have grown up reading the stories that Shishya was beating a cow and Guru got the marks on his back as though he was bitten by the Shishya. And Shishya told, Guruji, what happened? He said, you beat me up. Arre, these are all stories. It doesn't happen. You hit somewhere and the pain and the suffering goes somewhere else. It doesn't happen. Papa, you have to go through pain, you have to go through by yourself, This Steve Jobs, there is one message floating around in his name. I don't know how true it is. When he died out of cancer, he said, you may have a lot of money. You can buy the best hospital and best doctors and buy someone to do some work. He was trying to convey, don't go for money only, live a holistic life. But the pain that you have, you only have to suffer. Your money cannot buy a substitute to suffer your pain. You have to suffer. If somebody is beating you, you have to suffer it. And because of your beating and somebody has some gastro problems, that is because of Abhishwanga. That's not the wisdom. Sarvatma Bhava is, listen the sentence, 13th chapter 2 verses. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidhiyate. Etadyo vettitam prahu kshetragna iti tadvidah. I am not body. So how can I be others' body? The wise man knows I am not physio-psycho-complex. This body is kshetra. The knower of the body is kshetragna. Kshetragnam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetra shubha. When there is a space, cognitive space between me and the body, how can that person identify with somebody else's body and someone's pain becomes his or her pain? They are written by some Shishya disciple. They think they are glorifying a guru, as I said, but they are belittling the guru. It is not Sarvatma Bhava. Sarvatma Bhava is that second line of Gita. Kshetragnam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetreshu. That knower, that experiencer, that subject in all the bodies is me. Not the object, not the kshetra, not physio-psycho complex, but the very subject who knows physio-psycho complex, who knows that that this is my body, that knower is one, that is non-dual in every body. That is called Sarvatma Bhava. Okay? This wisdom is glorified here. Okay? This wise person is glorified, or the wise person is praised. The knowledge is praised by praising the knowledgeable. This Atma Gnanam is praised by praising the person who has the Atma Gnanam. And the praise is done in the language which will appeal us, which will appeal an ignorant person, which will appeal a person who still has not grown up, the one who still doesn't have emotional maturity. To that person, in absence of emotional maturity, the person will have lots of likes and dislikes. And since their person is goaded by likes and dislikes, pushed by likes and dislikes, that person may have so many desires. And in terms of one's desire, this knowledge is praised. Listen this. Now let us understand. This is a lakshyartha, as I said, you have to say. Yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati. Whatever loka means, devaloka, swargaloka, gandharvaloka, pitruloka, etc. Means whatever fields of experiences. What is this loka also we should know. Lokyate anubhuyate iti loka. Heaven, hell, these are all different lokas. Means in those lokas, you have varieties of experiences. In Urdhvaloka, the objects of experiences are such that you get pleasure out of it. In Adholoka, Atala, Vitala, Rasadala, Taladala, Mahadala, Papatala, etc., where you get dukkha. And to experience these varieties of dukkhas and the shades in each variety, you have different types of bodies, upadis. So that is loka. Lokyate anubhuyate iti lokaha. So heaven, you get different type of pleasure. Puhu bhuvaha swaha maha. Still some sophisticated and deep pleasures. Janaha, further up. Satyam, the ultimate, most pleasurable objects. You get a body which can have a deep or you can say profound, right word, profound happiness. That kind of objects are available and body mind is available is loka. Exactly like our tea in India, you know, that you never get this. In India, you get tea on highway. Then in the city, there are tea shops. In Saurashtra, Ravechi Tea Mart, Kodal Tea, there are standard brands here. You know, they are available. Then you go to a restaurant. There, here, on a deli, as you call it, American word, you stand and drink a cup of tea. And then again in that Ravechi, Bhavechi also you stand and take a tea. Then go to restaurant. Then there is a 4-star restaurant, 3-star restaurant, 1-star restaurant, 5-star restaurant, 7-star restaurant. Tea is same. But if you go to some 5-star hotel and take a cup of tea, bill will be 1,000 rupees. It is not that the tea is worth 1,000 rupees. Everything goes with it. Moment you go near the entrance gate, somebody salutes and allows you to get it. Moment you park the car in the porch, There is one very good-looking, handsome man with a mustaches and well-dressed and will open your door. The tea bill comes 800 rupees and tax and goes 1,000. But out of that 800, first 50 rupees is opening that main gate. They salute and your car gate is 100 rupees. Then you enter the hotel, another one opens the gate. Then you go there near a table. Somebody pulls the chair and makes you sit, another 100 rupees. Somebody comes and asks you politely, yes, sir, what will you have? That simple politeness with a well-dressed person adds another 50 rupees. Tea, however costly it may be, hardly 100 rupees tea it must be. You don't add even 10 grams or 15 grams of tea. And then if it is 10, let us say 25 grams of tea, if it is 100 rupees, that means 400 rupees for 100 gram. And so 4,000 rupees per kilo, which is very costly tea. Tea per se doesn't cost, everything adds. Your happiness is profound. It satisfies your ego. It makes you feel I am somebody. Though my wife keeps telling me that you are nobody, you are useless. But when I go to such hotel, I feel that I am somebody. That is profound happiness of ahankara. Ahankara gets the joy. Different lokas provide very subtle, profound objects of happiness. The whole ambience, the infrastructure is also beautiful and much subtler and better. And your capacity to enjoy is also subtler and better. If you take our Saurashtra taxi driver fellow who is used to taking tea on the highways, the highway tea is very strong and double sugar. As they say in Gujarati, sotli khuto thai jai. You know, the tea is so strong, it will raise your hands. That strong tea taker fellow, who should get a kick out of it. You know, that then only because he has to keep driving. He needs that kick, and it is all double sugar. Khadi chamach, they say. The spoon should stand when the tea is cold enough. That is the tea. They take a strong tea. And there is a style of taking. You have to sit in a particular posture and take in a saucer and make noise of it. Take that. They take a water first and then drink one glass and gargle and then take it. There is a whole procedure. If that fellow is taken to 7-star hotel and asked to take that cup of tea, you would say, what is this, Swamiji? You should have that upadhi, body, mind, etc., to enjoy that. So you get subtler and capable upadhi. That is lok. Understand? One more point here I would say, people say there are two types of people who say, we believe in heaven and hell. And somebody says, I don't believe in heaven and hell. And they go on saying, everything is here, Swamiji. Heaven is also here and hell is also here. I feel like telling, yes, hell is here only since the day you got married. You experienced the hell. And before marriage, you had a heaven. So that I can understand. For you, it is here. No. You cannot deny the existence, nor you can confirm the existence, because it is atindriyam. To say it is not there, you need to travel across the whole antariksha and then say it is not there. And to say that it is there, you should go and come back. By the time you come back, they would have burnt the body. So you cannot come back also. So you cannot, neither you can confirm nor you can deny. It is Vedoktaha, and there is a supporting logic also, because the types of karmas are so many. So karma phalas are also varied and many, and you cannot exhaust all karma phalas. You cannot have all the types of sukha dukkha's in a given body at a given place. Let's take this example of a place. The joys and pain, the pleasures and unhappiness and unpleasantness that you feel in North America is different from what I feel in India, and what they feel in Japan and what they would feel in Sri Lanka is different. So you cannot have the same thing remaining in US or Canada, that let me have the joys and sorrows of India and the pleasant and unpleasant things of Sri Lanka. You cannot have it. So one body cannot have all the pleasures. Karma phalas being many, infinite and varied, you need different lokas. So they are there. This is supportive logic. Okay. The wise man, whatever loka he desires, he gains. Please understand. What does it mean? It doesn't mean he desires for heaven and suddenly he is transported to heaven. He goes to heaven. And then he desires for hell, then he again suddenly gets transported to hell. It doesn't happen. That's not the tatparya, that he goes to heaven as soon as he desires. In fact, he gains all this without desiring. That's a tatparya. Because he knows, I am the self. I am Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am that self-existing, self-revealing, full, infinite consciousness. I am Satchit Ananda Atma. Anything that is not separate from me. Anything that exists or that was or that will be, that is me only. How can it be away from me? Because I am Sadat. Therefore, he need not gain them. Understand? Tatparya is without desiring he has, so he gains all this. And then he says, Kaman Kamayat. All that desires he or she has, he gains all this desire. Because he knows the very thought of loka. The very loka is not separate from me. So also, the Purna Sukham, that is his nature, it covers that Vishaya Sukham. The Vishaya Sukham is included in Purna Sukham. Given not that he gets simultaneous experience of eating ice creams and pakoras and mangoes and apples and all that, no. It doesn't mean that he gets all the pleasures that way. Otherwise, that will be new type of bundia, typical Gujarati item. Varieties of things put together. He will not have any taste. No. What it means is infinity includes everything. So Purnananda, he knows I am full happiness, and therefore that in that his Swarupa, everything gets included. Kamayate tamsya kaman prapnoti, as though gains. And last but not the least, this is the praise of the knowledge. Understand, wise person doesn't have desire. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita pragnastadochyate vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumam sharati nispruha nirvamo nirahankaraha sthitadihi munihi uchyate. He doesn't have desire. What does it mean? He doesn't have any desire centered on I. Wise person doesn't have any desire for self-fulfillment, self-contentment, self-acceptance, self-happiness. He knows I am happiness. He knows I am Ananda. He knows I am fulfilled. There is no desire like that. Kamaha means self-centered. The desire to enhance the self-esteem. The desire to make the self happy. Desire to make the self complete. A desire to make the self sufficient, acceptable. All such kind of desires are called kama. Kama doesn't mean simple desires. Two types of desires are there. One, binding desires, another, non-binding desires. An ignorant person has nothing but binding desires. Because ahankara is there, the fellow being ignorant. And since ahankara is there, ahankara means insufficiency. Ahankara means dukhi. Ahankara means incomplete. And since that incompleteness, insufficiency, status of being dukhi, being against my nature, is not acceptable. I want to get rid of it. And therefore, another thing I project by doing this or having this or not having that, I will be happier. I will be sufficient. That Maya Karya Vikshepa Shakti works. That kind of desires are called kama. Person is free from kama. Where is the question that he or she will aspire for heaven? He will or she will desire to have heavenly pleasures. It's not there at all. Okay? So it's a stuti. It's a praise and a glory of a knowledge. Point is, if at all this is, as I say, praise is told in a language in which the person, common man, can understand. Listen, I have told earlier, by glorifying the wise person, the wisdom is glorified, the knowledge is glorified, the importance of knowledge or greatness of knowledge is told. Why? Thereby the ignorant fellow, the one who is not having this necessary wisdom or committed to pursuit of knowledge, that person will get motivated to the knowledge because what I want is available over there. In that language, it is being told. The person is not ready to understand that wise person doesn't have a desire at all. Much less, secondly, he is not born and he doesn't get born further. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. So if he thinks I think of heaven and I go to heaven, that means I have a birth and I died. There is no birth and death. All this the common person cannot understand. Because mind is riddled with likes and dislikes and ignorance is so confounded. Lots of desires to fulfill is there. To that person, in his jargon it is told, you will have a lot of karma. You will fulfill all the karma. Exactly like just a 2-year-old girl, playing with the Barbie dolls and all that. He has an auntie, a typical Indian scenario. Joint family, brother is married, stays with the parents, has a sister who is unmarried. This baby is born. Obviously, that mother, that sister-in-law loves the baby. And father is busy in the job. Mother is busy in running the daily chore of the joint family. Sister-in-law does the babysitting. Baby has too much of attachment to the sister-in-law, and sister-in-law has too much of attachment to the baby. It is exactly like second mother. So much so that baby sleeps with the sister-in-law. Pui, then again, boa. And then suddenly she gets married when this baby is 3 years old. And then she says, what is marriage? And then the people talk that she will have a husband and she will go to her husband's house. Just that I cannot part with my sister-in-law. That's a child psyche. She says, I also want to get married. Get me a husband. She doesn't want husband, doesn't know what is husband. If you have husband, हंसी बंद हो जाएगी, हंस बंद, हंसी हंसी बंद करेगा. अभी खेल कूद रही है, हंस रही है, तो हंसने बैठी, हस्बैंड हस्बैंड मत कर तू. But then what to tell this child? What is marriage? You tell them, oh, you get 100 Barbie dolls. That's it. That is the language she will understand. So ignorant person who is desirous of various pleasures and mind is riddled with some loka prapti, and that kind of mindset is there to turn this person for knowledge, to create a value for pursuit of knowledge, to create a priority for the pursuit of knowledge. It is said, yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati, yam vishuddha sattva kamate yamsya kam. Tam lokam jayate tamsya kaman. That he gains and he is born. As such, there is no birth and death, and there is no gaining pleasurable objects, because wise man is full and content. When you are full, you are not lacking anything. You don't want anything. Okay? Rajahati yada, this is how they translate. Rajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manobhata. When one gives up all the desires which are there in the mind, sarvan partha manobhata, when one is happy by himself, sthita prajnastatochyate, then he becomes sthita prajna. No, this fellow is wise, therefore atmanyeva atmana tushta, is self-satisfied and therefore gives up all the pleasures. Not that by giving up you become. The wisdom, the phalam of this knowledge is you give up. And I would use the right, this also is not a right word. That wise person gives up the pleasure, they just get dropped off. They are no more there with me. They are incapacitated to create a pressure that I must have this, I must not have that. They just get dropped. If that is the case, where is the question of wise person desiring lokas and kamas? No, it's just a stuti to motivate this fellow, either to pursue knowledge or at least serve that person. Therefore, Shruti says further. What is the last quarter of this mantra, or the second quarter of the second line, second half of the second line? Tasmad atmagyam hyarchayed bhutikamaha. Bhutikamaha means vibhuti michu, one who is desirous of some worldly gains, desirous of some worldly pleasures, prosperity, etc., should do archana. Archayed means, Shankaracharya writes, Pujayed, Pada Prakshalana, Shushrusha, Namaskaradi Bhuhi Bhutika. Either you can do like this, Pujayed Pada Prakshala. So Pada Prakshala means you wash his feet, or do namaskaras, or shushrusha, serve the wise person. So, by serving the wise person, or by doing puja to the wise person, you get whatever you have been desiring. Why? How? There are two reasons. Who is a wise person? The person who doesn't have ahankara. Okay? The person who doesn't have sense of individuality, sense of being separate. Swami would say that ninja is not there. Japanese ninja. I am small, keeps fighting with the whole world. all the time. This is bad, that is bad. This is not good, he doesn't do this. That fellow doesn't do this. Keeps on fighting and fighting and fighting. All the time on the toes, ready to fight with the weapons. Jagat Sudharaka. One who has taken upon himself the role of improving the world. These all kinds of thinking is not there. Is individuality, that is individual. Ahankara is not. Kartrutvam is not there. That being the case, Prarabdha Vashat, he continues, even after the knowledge, whatever the Prarabdha Gnani has to go through, that person will continue. And therefore, he will eat and drink also. He will wake up and sleep also. And he will think and desire also. But then all his desires, since he is free from ahankara, all his or her sankalpas or desires are not prompted by ahankara, they are for samasti kalyana. It is for the betterment of everybody. It is dharmartha. His sankalpa will be to establish dharma. Dharma samsthapanartha. That means his sankalpas are Ishvara sankalpa. Bhagavad sankalpa, whatever comes to in his mind is Ishvara's sankalpa, Ishvara prerana. As in the 18th chapter, the shloka is there, you know. Ishvara sarva bhutanam ruddesha arjuna tishtata. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani maya. He says, I move, I push people to do what is to be done. But in case of ignorant person, there is ahankara. You know, like the puppets, the sutradhara. One who moves the puppet, he is the one who moves everything. Like Bhagavan is a sutradhara. But the thing is, the puppets don't have any ego. Here we have ego, and therefore our likes and dislikes, our prejudices, our notions, our ideas, whatever understanding play a role in the either by to go by the sankalpa or resist. Agnani keeps resisting Ishvaricha. Whereas in case of a wise person, ahankara not being there, there is no resistance. And therefore his sankalpa is Ishvara sankalpa. Because his sankalpa is only for dharma samsthapana. So whatever this person desires is Ishvara's Ichha. And Ishvara Ichha means it gets fulfilled because Ishvara is Satya Sankalpa. Look at this. Understand this. We say, Bhagavan is Sarva Shaktiman, you know, omniscient, omnipotent, all power, the translators. What does it mean? You can connect to Upanishad Vakya and see this way. This way. What? You know, our Bhagavan are resting position. Shivaji is sitting in Kailasa and meditating. Vishnu is sleeping on a serpent, Sheshaya. Swamiji said, the first ever coiled mattress in the world, coiled mattress, that is not coir, but coiled mattress in the world, and such a slippery mattress, still he manages to sleep. Snake is very slippery, he doesn't get slipped off to slip, he keeps awake. He is sitting, you can say sitting idle, not doing anything. And still he is a creator. Still he can sustain, still he can dissolve, sankalpa matra, by mere thought. That is Sarva Shaktimat. That is all power. All power doesn't mean keeps on punishing. Hey, I am all powerful. I can shoot and I can punish anything and every. No, that is not all powerful. All powerful means without doing anything, everything runs in order. He just sets the things in order and it runs. That is power. That's Sarva Shakti. Satya. Now, since this person is a wise person, doesn't have ahankara, he is like Ishvara, manifestation. So his sankalpa becomes Ishvara sankalpa. And Ishvara being Satya sankalpa comes true. It always comes true. Jayate tamstam sakarma. Further we'll see it tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.